Good morning, and welcome to Unity of Palmyra, where we were scurrying around getting ready for the service this morning. We are absolutely delighted that you are here. Centered in love, we embrace a positive path for spiritual living. We are an open and affirming community and congregation. We love you just the way you are in all of your magnificent glory. And again, we're so happy that you've joined us here in the room this morning or out in Facebook land. I'm seeing some faces in the room that have been in Facebook land, and it's so wonderful to see you in real life. As our granddaughter would say, in real life. It's absolutely wonderful. So let's all take a nice big deep breath and take just a few minutes to become fully present. Wherever you are in the physical realm, I invite you to be here now. Let's invite our spirit to become fully present, our heart and our mind to become fully present wherever we are physically. Let's turn off the phones and turn off the distractions, maybe even dim the lights wherever you are so that you can be fully present. Let's all take one nice big deep breath together. And with that exhale, we let go of everything that was. We let go of everything that will be. And we open ourselves to the gifts of this time. We calm our mind and open our heart to whatever opportunity presents itself to us this morning. Whatever music inspires us, whatever tidbit of wisdom enlightens us, we are here now, ready for it. And as always, we begin this time with gratitude as we say, thank you for this time. Thank you for whatever space you are in. And most especially, thank you for one another. And so it is. Amen. All right, let's stand and sing as we get ready to explore imagination and creativity. Let's celebrate that we are exactly as God created us to be. Created me in the light, in the love, in the glory. God created me in the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory, All right, holding that understanding and that knowing of the truth of who we are, let's share in our vision. Centered in love, we embrace a positive path for spiritual living. And our mission, wherever we are, we provide a welcoming community that inspires and encourages all who gather here through the teaching, sharing, and practice of universal spiritual principles. And so one of the ways that we provide that welcoming community is to honor wherever we are on our journey. So as we enter into this time of hugs and handshakes, this means I want a handshake. This means I'd like a hug, bring it on in. And if you stay where you are, we will leave you alone because we entirely understand that need sometimes. All right, so go forth, have a fun time. How conditioned we are in between the songs. As soon as Jody hits the chimes, we all start moving back to our seats. Well done, Jody. Have a seat. And Facebook land and YouTube land, we are sending you virtual hugs and can't wait to see you again. A couple of announcements. Our prayer chaplains today are Helen Baker, who is in the sanctuary, and she'll be available after the service for anyone who would like one-on-one prayer, and Debbie LaTulip, who is praying for us and holding space for us from home. Tickets are on sale for the Doug McDonald Gallery reading that is going to be held on Friday evening, August 6th. And I don't know if you were here for it last time, but it was amazing and it was super cool. So that's a technical term for it, super cool. So those tickets are $25. We are limiting the seating that evening just because we don't know who coming in is vaccinated or not. So we are limiting it to only 52 people because that's how many tickets we printed. So if you want a ticket, you can buy them after the service, or I think this week there's going to actually be a designated website for all of the vendors for that. You can also buy it online, but we do have them physically here in the building. The social activism team is meeting today in person at 12:30, and then they are also Zooming in anyone who cannot be in the building, and that is also a super cool team if you would like to join it. They are just rocking the social activism. Next Sunday, July 18th, is our monthly hug meeting, and we'll do that hybrid as we have been. We'll have it in the sanctuary, and then we'll also Zoom in anyone who can't be in the building with us. The hug stands for Help Us Grow, Help Unity Grow, Help Y'all Grow, whatever. It's a conversation. Everyone is invited. We do it monthly. We even did it monthly during the entire shutdown via Zoom because it's a critical component of keeping communication flowing and open within the community. It's an opportunity for the council and I to share updates, and we do have a bunch of updates this month. And also for you to give us feedback and ask us questions and to share your ideas. A lot of the things we do here came out of ideas that you shared during hug meetings. So make sure you stay for that next week or Zoom in. And then finally, it's almost yard sale time. I seriously think that the yard sale team just sleeps here at this point. Every time we drop into this building, the yard sale team is here. So they have gone so above and beyond for this event. Is it okay if I share how much money we've already? So with all the pre-saling and with Helene selling things on and Marketplace for us, and with all the pre-shopping that many of us have done, we're already at $1,000 for the yard sale, and we haven't even had the sale yet. So we can't wait for next weekend to see what comes in. So speaking of yard sale, remember I primed you last week. If you are in the building, we're going to ask that everybody run downstairs or walk carefully downstairs because my husband would say running downstairs is dangerous. If everybody brings up just 1 or 2 loads, and we will be directed where to go, it would hugely help the yard sale team so that they don't have to bring all that stuff upstairs. I don't know if you've been downstairs recently. It is wall to wall, literally every room wall to wall yard sale, even the kitchen, every horizontal surface, shelves, tables, everything. So that would really help them out if we could all go downstairs and carry something up. I'll even be taking off my heels and helping out. And then you wanted to also share another announcement.
Yeah, real quick. We're at the point where we really need some baked goods donations. Whatever we have, we're not actually selling them or having people donate. And that's always popular. People come in to shop and they want to grab something to eat. We're going to have coffee and hot dogs and Sloppy Joes. So it would be great if you people, if some of you could sign up. There's a sign-up sheet for bringing in baked goods. And even though the meat has already been provided, we still need some hot dog and hamburger rolls to put the meat on. So if you could check that out, I'd really, really appreciate it. And for all the donations that all of you brought in, thank you. I mean, this is going to make this such a good year and a good yard sale.
And if you feed them, they will come. So, yeah. Okay, so I just have to share a funny yard sale story. So many of our families have also been donating to the yard sale, including mine. I said there's one whole corner of the yard sale that is just like, I see all of the homes in my family represented in that corner. And so Jackie and I were in the Rose Room last week, and we saw this adorable little throw and pillow with papillons. You guys know what papillons are? Those cute little dogs with the cute little ears. And so my stepmother loves papillons, and we thought, oh, we should buy that and give it to Grammy Beebe. And all of a sudden we're looking at it, and we're thinking, wow, that little papillon actually looks like Maggie May. That was Grammy Beebe's, and she donated it. So just be careful when you're buying something from the yard sale and thinking of gifting it to someone that you're not buying back something they donated, okay? So I just had to share that, little yard sale levity. Miss Vicki, would you like to read the Daily Word?
Good morning. Today's Daily Word is pray for others. I know the truth of each dear one I hold in prayer. What an honor it is to hold others in prayer. I am grateful for this sacred trust and use it to see beyond appearances. Knowing they are temporary conditions, I focus on the unchangeable truth that each one for whom I pray is a divine being, a living expression of God. As I pray for others, I envision divine peace, calming thoughts, and strengthening faith. I see healing leading to the realization of wholeness. I pray divine love and wisdom, create harmony in relationships, guiding my every decision. I affirm, divine order is established in every area of my life. I claim for them the zeal to complete everything that needs to be done. I then give thanks, grateful to bless others with the gift of prayer. And from Matthew 18:19, again, truly I tell you, if 2 of you agree on earth about anything you ask, it will be done for you by my Father in heaven.
I am home, my family is here. I feel loved by the ones I hold so dear. And when my family needs me, I promise to be there. And when I need my family, I'm lifted up in prayer.
Oh, what a perfect daily word for today. So let's all take a nice big deep breath. As we remember that prayer is an alignment. It's not the begging, bargaining, and beseeching that many of us grew up with. That assumes that there is a a being outside of ourselves. But we know that spirit, that the divine, that God, whatever we call that magnificent universal force, lives within us and surrounds us and demonstrates as us. Jesus, our brother and way shower, said that you are the hands and the feet. We can add the minds and the hearts of God. We are the physical incarnation of spirit. We are spiritual beings having a very human experience. However we want to express it, prayer helps us to remember our true nature. It helps us to get quiet, to listen to that still small voice within that reminds us that we are the face of God, that we are, each one of us, a representation of the divine. And so when we pray for others, we are not projecting an outcome that we believe should happen. When we pray for others, we are simply praying that they remember their true nature, that they embrace their divinity, their power, their spirit. Therein lies the power of praying for others, because when we all remember who we are, when we all remember that we are one, that we are all bound to one another, then we will have war no more. We will have peace in the world because we will have peace in our hearts. And we will wish peace for everyone who shares our journey. And so we pray this and we practice this in the spirit of recognizing the divine in ourselves and others as we say Namaste.
The God in me beholds the God in you. Namaste. The God in me beholds the God in you. Namaste. You are beautiful. You are whole. You are beautiful. You are whole.
Come with me, and we'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in a world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, take a look around and view it. anything you want to do it, want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with your imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. If you want to see magic lands, close your eyes and you will see one. Want to be a dreamer, be one anytime you please, and please save me one. There is no place to go to compare with your imagination, so go there to be free if you truly wish to be.
Makes me happy that I get to take him home. So, imagination is the ability to conceive, to draw together, to inspire the mind with a sense of newness. It is the mind's exercise in foreseeing results in material form. That comes from Ella Pomeroy's book, Power of the Soul. So let's look at how we got here. So faith is the power to believe. I'm looking at Vicki because she's me. Love is the power to be loving. Strength is the power to persevere. Wisdom is the power to choose. Power is the power to act. And imagination is the power to see or to visualize. So imagination is a key element in the creative process. And the creative process is if we perceive it, we can conceive it. If we conceive it, we can believe it. And if we believe it, we can achieve it. Those are the steps of the creative process. And FYI, some people have said to me, I'm just not terribly creative. Here's a news flash, friends. We are always creating. Always. Every thought creates an outcome. The purpose of this work is to be creating consciously. But let's just put that to bed, that anyone could not be creative, because we are always creating. So we want to look at, what are we creating? We have to go back to, what are we conceiving? What are we perceiving? Are we perceiving the worst or the best? Because our imagination is pretty amazing. Our imagination can create the space shuttle. Our imagination can create vaccines. Our imagination can create these beautiful stained glass windows. Our imagination can create works of art and books that empower us and inspire us and enlighten us. And our imagination, in the form of worry, can keep us focused on the opposite of all of that. So we are always imagining, we are always creating. What we want to ask ourselves is, what are we imagining? Are we imagining the best, or are we imagining the worst? I think many of us over the last year have had the opportunity to look at what are we predisposed to imagine, right? We all have predispositions. Are we predisposed to be Pollyanna? I want to say I claim that gladly, by the way. Just if you ever call me Pollyanna, know that I take it as a compliment, right? Or are we predisposed to always be looking for what could go wrong? What are we imagining? What are we creating? So we need to be clear about who we are in order to be very conscious about what we're imagining, what we're creating. So the colors for the 12 powers were actually created after Charles Fillmore discerned the 12 powers. And a couple of different people, including Dr. Robert Knapp, he discerned different colors for the 12 powers. And he, instead of light blue for the 12 powers, he actually said that his color was crystal clear, because he thought in order for our imaginations to be creating what would be a contribution, that our vision had to be absolutely crystal clear. He also talked about how our vision may change depending on circumstances and on opportunities being presented to us. But even in the midst of challenging circumstances, if we're clear about that vision, if we're clear about our vision and our values and our mission, they can become our touchstones for what our imagination creates. Clarity of vision. It's also important when we have a vision that we be willing to be specific and flexible. How many of us have ever created a vision board or a treasure map? Lots of us, right? So a friend of mine had created a treasure map when she and her husband at the time were looking for a new home, and they drew out the home and exactly the neighborhood they wanted, and it was just very specific about what they wanted. And they found that home. She said it was like a miracle, Steph. We were driving through this beautiful neighborhood. This was in the Lehigh Valley, and we looked over and we said, that's the home. It was for sale. They were thrilled. They felt so powerful. Look at what we manifested. And then they realized after they moved in that it was in the flight path for ABE. And they went back to their poster, and what do you think they had flying over the house? No kidding. God bumps, right? She said we were just a little too specific in our map. So we want to be clear, but we also want to be flexible, right? This or something better. We want to be flexible. We also want to pay attention to whatever we're getting clear about. We want to be flexible around our vision, because the universe responds to our energy. So it doesn't matter who we say we are. It doesn't matter what we say is important to us. What the divine mind universal life force responds to is, how are we actually showing up? What energy are we bringing to our vision and our mission and our values, personal or otherwise? Because that's what the universe responds to. That's why sometimes we get really confused and we say, but I was so specific. Why am I manifesting this? By the way, Charles Fillmore never used the word manifest. You notice I don't use the word manifest, except in quotation marks. He used the word demonstrate. You feel the difference in energy between those two words? Think about it if you don't, and call me this week if you want to talk about it, right? Notice the action implied in demonstrate. It involves effort. It involves consciousness. It involves doing something around our vision and our mission and our values. So if we can conceive it and believe it, we can achieve it. And I love the song that Ken just sang, because it comes from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which is one of my very favorite movies. And I love that through the whole movie, Willy Wonka is trying to, first of all, discern the integrity of those who have showed up in his factory. But he's also trying to discern who would carry forth his vision? Who could see clearly enough that it wasn't just about chocolate, it was about magic? Who could see that? Who could see that I love how it says, if you want to view paradise, just look around and view it. And of course, coming from the clergy perspective, I read that, oh, that's the kingdom of God. You don't ever want to watch a movie with me because I'm instantly interpreting it metaphysically, and that would make a good sermon, and this Jesus taught bad, and but truly what Willy Wonka was telling them is that we live in paradise. We just have to be willing to see it. We have to be willing to believe it. We have to be using our imagination to see beyond what's right in front of us and to see what we can create, to see the possibilities. When John F. Kennedy said, we're going to go to the moon, people thought he was nuts. Seriously. It was a rough time in our country. Another rough time in our country. But what he got was that people needed a vision. They needed something to imagine that would get them out of the misery, out of the worry, to think about something bigger, to conceive it and believe it and achieve it. So there's a wonderful quote by Walt Disney. He said, somehow I can't believe there are any heights that can't be scaled by a person who knows the secret of making dreams come true. This special secret, it seems to me, can be summarized in the 4 C's. They are curiosity, confidence, courage, and constancy. And the greatest of these is confidence, because when you believe a thing, believe it all the way, implicitly and unquestionably. So what are we creating with our imaginations? Come on up, Lisa.
I'm going to let you do this.
I'll do this. There you go. So the first and last questions are always the same. The first question is, you heard how we define imagination, or how Charles Fillmore and Ella Pomeroy and Cora Fillmore defined imagination. How do you? And then I'm going to let her go because she has some amazing stuff to share. And then the final question will be, how did you specifically practice it last year? So, your definition of imagination.
Okay. I think it's very similar to what we just talked about, but I think I'm a little more explicit about going beyond what we think, because I think our minds confine us. And so imagination to me is going beyond the present moment, being able to think beyond whatever has been before, that we have known before. And it involves listening to our hearts, listening to our passions, listening to our longings, listening to nature. Because I think if we confine imagination to something that we've already known or something we've already seen, we really limit ourselves. So it involves just kind of opening up to things that maybe are impossible or improbable.
Or that we think are impossible.
That we think are impossible, improbable, and paying attention to, well, what does my heart say? What does my soul say? And I guess another way of saying it is getting into the perspective of our divinity.
Yeah.
Getting into our God self and letting that guide us.
And recognizing that the kingdom of heaven, of God, of the divine,
Yeah.
what Charles Fillmore used to, we say we swim in the ethers, we swim in this infinite potentiality. That's one of Deepak Chopra's words that I love.
Yes.
Infinite potentiality, and we don't see it.
Right.
We don't, like you said, we just look at what we've always done,
Yes.
right? We've always done it that way, or we've never done it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And, it's a double-edged sword, because we can also imagine all sorts of bad things. I mean, when I was sitting there, I was thinking, I hope I don't trip when I come up. And then I said, now wait a minute, you're going to talk about imagination. Let's not think about that. Let's not imagine that. Exactly.
Yeah.
But we do that to ourselves all the time, is we imagine, well, what can go wrong?
Right.
Or we think of something, oh, I really want this in my life. And then think, oh, but I can't do that.
Right. Or come up with a million reasons.
Reasons.
We talk ourselves out of
Right,
stuff.
we talk ourselves out. Exactly.
And I think and you and I have talked about this before, there's a difference between, monkey mind is that evolutionary part of our brain that wants to keep us safe. So sometimes if monkey's saying, don't step in front of that 18-wheeler, we want to pay attention to that.
Exactly.
Right? So it's not that we want to walk around with blinders on all the time and say, oh, nothing could ever possibly go wrong. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about when our imagination carries us away into the doom and the gloom and talks us out of doing amazing things.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think another part of imagination is taking time and listening, just letting there be a pause before we move forward. So monkey mind will speak in that pause, but the pause also gives us an opportunity to say, now, okay, is this monkey mind, or is this, really you shouldn't step out in front of this Mack truck that's coming towards you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes our imagination is trying to anticipate what could go wrong, and not in a negative way, but just in a have you thought. Like, I always love having someone on a team that says, okay, have you thought about this? Right? And not in a, not in a, naysaying kind of energy, but just, okay, let's try to anticipate, right, what could go wrong, so that then we can create this amazing thing that we're thinking of.
Right, so that we can then, okay, well, this could go wrong, but, well, how do we get around that? Or how do we make it not go wrong?
Yeah, using our imagination.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you're really talking about being open to perceiving differently, because that's, going back to the very beginning, what are we perceiving? And I think part of that is, I just love talking to you because I love talking therapist talk with you. But so it's like recognizing our filters. What is my mind filtering out that my imagination is trying to break through?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And letting there be a space where we kind of take the filter away.
Yeah. And letting our imagination just
go.
See the paradise around us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you made a couple of changes last year. You started a new studying a new thing. So talk about that, because you light up whenever you talk about it. So
Yes, well, this is going to start to answer the last question.
Okay.
Because when the pandemic happened, that I was just retired, March 1st retired. And
hello, welcome to retirement.
Right.
Yeah.
And we had just come back from visiting my niece in Arizona, and we were going to make other plans to drive across country in our new old van and visit family and all that kind of thing, and then we weren't. And, I think retiring, you're always reimagining yourself. You're always redefining yourself, and you're redefining yourself as a couple. As well.
Yeah.
I mean, Jan had been retired for a long time.
But it was new for you.
It was new for me, and here we were both together all the time in the same house. And
I think there are many that could relate to this part of the story.
Right. And, there's this adjustment. I mean, what am I going to do? What are you going to do? She knew what she was going to do. She was going to be outside. She was going to be in her shop.
In her amazing shop.
And I had all these things, and what am I going to do? And that created anxiety in me, and that wasn't easy. I mean, here's the pandemic, and here are all these changes in my life. I'm not coming to the church anymore. I'm not a therapist anymore. What am I?
Yeah.
And at first I thought, okay, I'm going to address this anxiety by doing more heart rhythm meditation, which I did. And then the summer came around. And
which made Leslie so happy.
Oh, I know. Well, and Leslie was so instrumental in it, too, because she started teaching courses on Zoom, which was wonderful. Yeah. And summer came around, and there was this opportunity to start at the Heart Rhythm Meditation School that Leslie had gone through. Yeah. And, I thought, okay, I'm going to do this because it's going to help me with my anxiety. And sure, okay, and I started, and then I quickly realized that this isn't just about managing anxiety. This is about living in a different way. It's about thinking in a different way, and a different way that involves having experiences and thoughts and emotions that you've never had before. You really need to open yourself up to unknown and to see what can happen.
Yeah.
And that has just been an amazing journey, and it continues to be an amazing journey. Because when you allow yourself to be something that you've never been, or to experience something that you've never conceived, it opens up universes of possibility.
Well, it sounds like you started to perceive yourself differently
Oh,
through
absolutely.
that work. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, that's scary.
It's scary and exciting at the same time.
It's scary and exciting, and a lot of the time the scary comes before the exciting. And you have to have people around you saying, or people that you're in school with saying, just keep at it.
Yeah.
Because you're going somewhere.
Yeah.
And if you stop now, if you don't let the change happen,
Yeah.
then you won't experience.
Just keep
the new.
taking that next step.
Right.
And, yeah. Yeah. So
Right.
you had clarity of vision, kind of. You thought you knew what you were getting into.
Yeah, but the vision, clarity and vision change. I mean, as you say, you need to be specific, but you need to be flexible.
Yes.
And as these new things come up, the flexibility is being able to incorporate them and say, yes, I want that too.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was also some painting involved.
Oh yeah, well,
You imagined a new paint color.
well, I had been wanting to paint the walls of our house for a long time.
Yeah.
And I actually had the paint, and I mean, a long time, years.
Yeah.
And part of the stepping into the pandemic was, okay, well, what can you do that's right here in the house ready to go?
Yeah.
And so, yes, there was painting the walls involved.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of that, and then I ran out of that. There was also, and I don't know if I talked to you about this, there was also Jan had a shop.
Yeah.
Outside, a beautiful shop
Beautiful
that she
shop.
could go to and do her creating, which was wonderful.
Yeah. And by the way, when you guys were talking about Jan's shop, I thought it was like a little shop.
No,
It's like
no.
a small house.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
so it's like,
Yeah, If
It's
one of us
incredible.
needs to move, it's
Yeah,
the place to move
just
to.
put a cot in it
Yeah.
and you're good to
Right.
go. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So another part of that was I kept making masks. That was my creativity. I'm going to make masks, and I'm going to order more fabric, and I'm going to make more masks. But I had one small room for my sewing machine and all my craft things. So another thing that we envisioned this year and that just came to pass was a craft room in our basement. And I just finished putting it together, and I just finished putting all my craft materials there, and I can see all my yarn on the wall. I see what I have.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
jealous. That way
Yeah.
it's gorgeous. Yeah.
But-
yeah. But you envisioned that.
But yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
I came out of a need, and I had always thought, well, there's no place in this house, and I have this one little room I can do it in. No, there is space. That awful basement can have a space in it that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the power of imagination and
Yes.
being able to see. You know, I think about, you know, I'm such a geek and I love science. And I think about all of the imaginative leaps that have happened, like in the science field, in the medical field, because these scientists who we kind of stereotype scientists as being, you know, cut and dried and, you know, but so many of them have had to make such huge imaginative leaps in order to accomplish, you know, what they've done. And just being able to visualize, and I guess that's up for me because the reason we can all be in this room is because there was a scientist who worked for 15 years in her specific field of study that was able within 6 months to create a vaccine for us after 15 years. Right? And just that being able to see beyond how we've always done things
Exactly.
is so about the power of imagination, right? And just seeing that there is that infinite potentiality if we're just willing to see it.
Yes.
Yeah, you're my hero. Not just because you have an amazing craft room down there, but yeah.
Well,
And
thank you.
all those masks that you made. So for those of you who don't know, Lisa was our office manager a couple of years ago, so we've had a lot of conversations about stuff like this, and that's why I was so excited to have you up here.
Oh,
Is there anything else that you want to say about imagination or the power of imagination or how imaginative you are?
I guess there's one more thing, and it's what allowed me to kind of let my imagination grow, and it was one of those things where I went through a very bad time. I was an attorney; it wasn't the job for me, and there was a time when I didn't know what I was going to do, and there was lots of therapy involved and depression involved, and then there was the opening of, well, okay, I don't want to be in this place anymore. I don't want to be depressed all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be. Well, how am I not going to be that? And I decided to become a therapist, and then I decided to become a play therapist. And it was that being exposed to play therapy and kids and play, and how play really grows our imagination, that helped me get to this place. And I think one of the things that when we were having our class that I did was I brought in a lot of puppets.
Yeah.
And I had everybody grab a puppet and talk to the puppet.
Yeah.
And I think that has helped me a lot. When I don't know where I'm going or what's going on, or it feels like I'm in a corner, to just be able to grab a puppet or anything. I mean, look
just
at one
play.
of these. Just play with images.
Yeah.
And I mean, even just looking at one of these beautiful stained glass windows and allowing yourself to go into it, and allow that experience to speak to you or that play to speak to you, it gets to the back of your mind.
Yeah.
It gets to the subconscious and the unconscious
It
part
gets
of
into
your
your
mind.
cells.
It does. Yeah.
When Lisa was the office manager, it was so awesome because all the shelves in the office were filled with toys and characters, and she had her sand tray there, and so we could just go in and play. We would just go in, and Ratatouille is still there. One of the puppets is still in the office. It's become the office mascot now.
Yeah, the
So-
Ratatouille.
The rat, yeah, it's a rat. It's a rat, yeah.
Yeah, it's a rat.
It's awesome.
Well,
and it
and-
reminds us to play.
Exactly.
Because, you know, we take ourselves so seriously. I'm a firm believer in hanging out with little kids as much as you can, because it just so helps us to lighten up, you know, and to laugh and to play. And it's all about imagination.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's awesome. You're awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming up. This was terrific. All righty. Oh, let's thank Lisa. Isn't she terrific? You got it? Yay! Yay! All right, so let's let
Take this with me.
you take it with you. You want to sing us into meditation?
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one.
So I invite you to take a deep breath. If you can comfortably put your feet on the floor, let's do that. Let's ground ourselves, feeling the energy, the power of the earth beneath this floor. The power and the energy of this planet that supports us all. And as we sit up straight and we feel that energy moving all the way up through us, all the way out the crown of our heads, reaching to the skies. And as we breathe through that flow from the ground up to the heavens, we are reminded of our connection to the earth, of our connection to the infinite source of energy that is available to us, and of our connection to one another. When we look around our world and we listen to the radio and we watch the news and we get online and we see evidence that does not support that connection, it's so easy to despair. And yet this is where we are called, and when we are called, to activate the power of our imagination so that we can see beyond what is, so that we can see what might be. Because if we perceive it, we can conceive it. And if we can conceive it, we can believe it, and we can achieve it. But in order to create the world that we just heard of, where we live in peace, we must be willing to change our perception, to look for what might be, and then to be willing toward creating that reality, creating that paradise that we know is there. If we're willing to see it, if we're willing to create it, if we're willing to be it. It begins in the hearts and the minds and the spirits of each one of us. What are we creating? Let's take a moment of silence in which we open our heart and our mind to become clear about what it is we want to create. As we imagine a world with no hunger, no hate, no war, as we imagine a world where we all understand that we are one. It all begins with what we imagine.
Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
I know we don't usually applaud for the meditation song, but could we please applaud for that? So I was reminded as Lisa was sharing, and thank you, it was so fun to talk with you. Years ago when I was in conversation with that council about coming on as your minister, I said, I think that would be a lot of fun. I think this community has a huge amount of potential, but I have to tell you that the one thing I never want to hear is, we've never done it that way before. Or the flip side of that, what's the opposite of we've never done it that way before, is we've always done it this way, right? And I want to go on record as saying, I have never heard that in this community, ever. I'm so happy you took me seriously about that, because you all are amazing, and your powers of imagination have created an incredible community. So, well done, Unity of Palmyra. And that power of imagination and that commitment to stepping fully into our power and our principles has been reflected in our finances over the last year. It's been incredible to see the generosity and your understanding of being in that flow of giving and receiving, and being in that flow of that energy exchange, right? Because money's energy, and so you all get that. There's an understanding that if we want this community to be here when we open up again, we need to keep that flow going, and you have done that in such magnificent ways. So thank you. Oh, and our new offering basket is now back there by Dan on the sound booth if you want to drop some paper in, but many of you are now sending it through the ethers, which is just so much fun. So thank you.
Oh, the sculptor Michelangelo was asked how he got in the flow, and made the lovely David from a giant block of stone. He said, well, he was in there waiting. My job was simply excavating. I just took away what did not belong. And I know somewhere not so deep inside of me lives that perfect soul that I was meant to be. Let me be the way I was created. Let me find a pure and simple heart. I'll chip away all jealousy and hatred and reveal God's perfect work of art. Well, I think we're born on angels' wings. Heaven sent such graceful things like love without condition, knowing we are not alone. But then descends a soul's dark night, and shadows come and block the light. And as the years go by, we turn to stone. My block of stone is made of fear and doubt, but the real me is crying to come out. Well, let me be the way I was created. Let me find a pure and simple heart. I'll chip away all jealousy and hatred and reveal God's perfect work of art. Let me be the way I was created. Let me find a pure and simple heart. I'll chip away all jealousy and hatred and reveal God's perfect work of art and reveal God's perfect work of art.
We are so lucky. We are so incredibly blessed. Thank you. And speaking of blessed, let's stand and share in our unity blessing. Nice segue, right? Together, we love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the Christ in each and every one of you. Yes, we do. Let's sing the peace song.
With peace on earth and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And wherever God is, all is well.
Amen. So go forth this week and be that perfect work of art that you were created and intended to be. And nobody leaves this building without taking one load up from the yard sale. Bye-bye, Facebook land. We love you. Have a great week, everyone. And listen to whatever Linda Raber tells us to do.